Hello and welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja Devedi, and in this segment today, we are going to discuss about malnutrition in India. This topic is important from the perspective of prelims and also from the perspective of GS mains papers. So let's begin with the topics of discussion that we are going to look at step by step. These will be the topics that we are going to discuss step by step for better understanding. Let's start with the news. Now, high levels of maternal and child undernutrition have continued to plague India according to UNICEF official. The official has said that even though India has done great in tackling malnutrition and assuring food security since the last 3 decades, but if we talk about the current scenario, the COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated the underlying issues with respect to nutrition in India. So, let's begin. The highlights say that India has done great in gaining in the economic and human development sectors, but high levels of maternal and child undernutrition still exist, and overweight, obesity and micronutrient deficiency are the emerging problems. Overweight gives rise to lifestyle diseases such as cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, and also obesity leads to high blood pressure. Micronutrient deficiency deficiency basically means the body, even though it is taking macronutrients, but it is lacking in micronutrients. So, can you please tell me in the comment segment what are micronutrients, the example of it? And this leads to hidden hunger. Hidden hunger. That means the physical engulfment of food, it fulfills the need of the belly that it is fully satisfied. But the body also needs nutrition. So when the body doesn't get the amount of nutrition it needs to function in a healthier way, it is known as hidden hunger. And global research in the year 2020 has researched on the effects of COVID-19. It estimated that about 14.3% increase in wasting has occurred in the entire globe. Now, India's specific data is not available according to this research. So, we will go by the research of National Family Health Survey 5. Okay, let's begin and talk about the impacts of COVID. According to the highlights of this article, first is nutritional status of a child. Because of the closing down of schools, because of the lack of provision of midday meals during the pandemic, and because of the lack of providing them folic tablets and iron tablets, it has happened that there is the threat to nutritional status of child. Apart from that, migration of laborers whose children are the most impacted, that is also another reason that food security was threatened, and because of disruption to food system, food security and nutritional security was threatened. Because of the closing down of PDS shops, because of the closing down of such basic remuneration facilities such as laborers, they went out of work, they did not get any work, so the supply of money to them, also the depletion of the savings they had with them, that also was threatened. Health and social services such as Anganwadi, these were diverted towards contact tracing, vaccination procedures and awareness campaigns. So they could not take into consideration the basic work which was expected of them. But because of the lack of human resources with the government, this was something which was inevitable. Delivery and financing of nutrition and nutrition security responses, that is another challenge that occurred because of the COVID pandemic, that because of closing down of so many shops and with respect to the depletion of savings, the nutritional services were not robust, especially when we talk about the rural India where contact intensive industries are a lot. That is another issue that occurred because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, what are the challenges according to this article? First is pandemic response service. There is the fear of third wave and the subsequent waves that are still looming large. Even though the cases have become, they are decreasing day by day, they have become less than expected in this month, but still there is a fear of a new variant and hence subsequent shock waves. So if we talk about the pandemic response service, it's still not robust enough because we are still not knowing the magnitude of the waves that we are going to see. Then COVID-19 may inflict repeated shocks again because of the closing down of labor-intensive sectors, closing down and disruptions in the supply chains. There are reasons to be fearful. What can be done? We need a strong leadership at all levels, from state to district to at least the village level, because as we are unlocking in phase-wise manner, we need to understand the magnitude that the shock waves might carry in future, as people are being very right now, they have the psychological response to the vaccine as they are safe. So people are not right now wearing masks, not following proper sanitization and COVID appropriate behavior. We need strong leadership to reiterate the importance of COVID-19 protocols so that food security is not threatened. Uninterrupted, universal, timely. Uninterrupted, universal and timely, high quality coverage of essential evidence-based nutritional services. Nutritional services in the form of midday meal, in the form of other missions such as Poshan Abhiyan. These should not get disrupted. In March 2021, when Poshan Pakhwada was being conducted because of the COVID-19's second wave, that event had to be cancelled because it was community-based event. So that got disrupted. But again, in September 2021, the celebration of Poshan Ma under Poshan 2.0 occurred, and it was good to see people participating in that with same vigor. And also, the pandemic has called for strategies which are adapting to COVID-19 guidelines, COVID appropriate behavior, and innovations in service delivery mechanism. That means service deliverance should be in such a manner that it does not threaten the COVID-19 protocol. It should be contactless. It should be ready for a pandemic response. And adequate financing for providing nutritional security and also providing more human resources to the entire India is needed. And nutrition needs to be retained as key indicator for development. The health management information system, the Poshan tracker, these all should be deployed to provide proper data on nutrition so that the government can formulate policies with the help of data. And nutrition there should be the key indicator of development, that any country is developed when its human resources are developed. Let's move towards certain important data for your examination according to National Family Health Survey 5. Okay, so this was conducted in over 6 lakh households and collects the data from 2019 to 20. Okay, so malnutrition has worsened, stunting has risen in 11 out of 18 states. Wasting was going up in 14 states. So, two keywords, stunting and wasting. Stunting means low height for age, okay? And wasting means low weight for height. You can note it down. So, as you can see, in 13 out of 22 states and union territories which were surveyed, stunting recorded a rise in the percentage of occurrence in children. Wasting 12 out of 22 states and union territories survey recorded a rise in the percentage of children under 5 years who are wasted in comparison to the last family health survey. Overweight. 20 states and union territories have recorded a rise in the percentage of children under 5 years who are overweight. Children with diarrhea in the 2 weeks preceding the survey also jumped to 7.2% from 6.6%. Anemia. Anemia is a condition in which the red blood cells or the concentration of hemoglobin is below than normal. And as hemoglobin is important to carry oxygen in the body, so if there is a lack in the concentration of red blood cells, what will happen? The person will feel weak and person will not be able to perform his or her functions more normally and in a healthy way. And anemia among women and children continues to be a cause of concern. Women, especially because of the loss of blood through the menstrual cycle and because of pregnancy and the growing of fetus, iron becomes lacking. And if a diet is lacking in vitamin B12, iron and folic, anemia is bound to happen. And unhealthy anemic mothers will deliver anemic children. Keep this in mind. So anemia among women and children continues to be a cause of concern. More than half of the children and women are anemic in 13 of the 22 states and union territories. It has also been observed that anemia among pregnant women has increased in half of the states and union territories compared to the last family health survey, in spite of substantial increase in the consumption of IFA tablets by pregnant women for 180 days or more. That's sad. So there are certain initiatives that have been undertaken by the government in order to increase the status of nutrition amongst the Indian citizens, especially adolescent girls, children and women. So Poshan Abhiyan, which was launched on 8th of March 2018, it wants to divert the entire attention of nutrition amongst women who are pregnant, lactating mothers, children and adolescent girls. And Poshan Abhiyan wants to reduce stunting, undernutrition, anemia, also low weight at birth by the percentage of 2%, 2%, 3% and again 2%. So remember this combination for your examination. And the government, in order to bring down stunting, has basically brought out this program, Poshan Abhiyan. Stunting should be reduced to 25%. And this Abhiyan wants a social and behavioral change with the help of technological innovations. It has also mandated a voluntary support from Swasth Bharat Preraks, who are going to perform as a catalyst when implementing the policies under Poshan Abhiyan, and they will interact between the general populace and the district officials. And Poshan 2.0 was also launched this year. Under that, the importance of nutrition has been reiterated. Poshan Mah has also been celebrated in the month of September. Poshan Vatikas were given a lot of importance, in which organic or grown food, in organic, which the food which are grown at Gram Panchayat lands, at schools and Anganwadis, they are organic in nature. For better nutritional outcomes, Poshan Vatikas have been launched under this only. Okay. So next is Anemia Mukt Bharat Abhiyan. This was also launched in the year 2018 in order to reduce the incidence of anemia, especially in women who are lactating, pregnant women, adolescent girls, and children. Midday meal scheme for higher enrollment, better nutritional status, and learning outcomes for retention of students in school as well as more attendance. This scheme was launched. Also, the National Food Security Act of 2013 makes right to food a legal, gives it a legal status. Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana, it gives 6,000 rupees to pregnant women so that they can look after themselves, and with the help of those 6,000 rupees, better outcomes of the birth comes. And Integrated Child Development Service Scheme, a holistic scheme for addressing the needs of children. This has been in place since the year 1975. Okay, let's move forward and talk about the challenges. Because of the rising disasters, apart from COVID-19 pandemic, despite of rising disasters which are natural calamities, food insecurity tends to get threatened. First challenge is that we need to understand the importance of food security and grow those crops which are climate resilient in nature with the help of technological innovation and last mile connectivity, so that people in the remotest of the areas do not get deprived of the right to life and liberty, and of course food. Inequity. There is a lot of inequity in the Indian strata. There has been a segmentization basing on the income of the people. So people who are poorer should get, of course they are already getting subsidized food grains, should get more incentives in order to get employed in the first place, so they are contributing in the economy, and accordingly get subsidies and remuneration for them to be equals. Inadequate dietary intake, also because of the, of course we can understand that the changes in the dietary patterns have occurred since the last few years. More junk food is prioritized over more nutritious food. So that is another problem. The dietary plans need to be changed. Some crops which are very rich in fiber have extremely went out of our plates. So that is another challenge. Government needs to raise awareness about the importance of those food. Way forward is we need to ensure that in the era of COVID-19, locally available nutritious food is there, such as Poshan Vatikas, will make sure that rural areas, if in every village, we have Poshan Vatikas at a large scale, this could be ensured. Take-home ration and midday meal service. These schemes should get more incentives, and the government should make sure that fundraising for these basic incentives should be released. And public distribution system network should be strengthened, and one ration, one nation card is the right step. The use of newer technologies for providing services at a better rate to the remotest of the areas should be undertaken. Right? Let's move towards our mains-based question. Okay? Any country cannot aim to attain economic and social development goals without addressing the issue of malnutrition. In light of the statement, discuss the multi-sectoral dimensions of malnutrition in India and how to address them. So, that's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.